Hey everybody, it's Dan, your friendly fishmonger from dansfish.com, and today I want to show you how I raise blackworms. They're an amazing food. Let me show you some. For those that don't know, these right here are some blackworms I cultured. They grow to, I don't know, what would you say, about an inch maybe or so, and they're thin, and fish love them. I have not met a fish yet that does not like blackworms. Even the most finicky wild fish, the rarest fish, I honestly can't think of one. I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there's some kind of fish that doesn't eat them. But let me show you why I love them so much. See if I can do this one-handed. Maybe. There we go. Hang on. Let me fix that. So these, speaking of rare wild fish, these are humphead glassfish. They are just starting to eat flake food and prepared foods, but it's taken 5 days or so for them to get to that point. And when you get new fish in, often they're stressed and you want them to have a good meal right away, so you don't want them to go without food. So it's really nice to have a food that you can give them that they're going to eat. Like I said, I've never met a fish that doesn't like blackworms. So that's why I find them super useful, and that's why I culture them. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So let me take you downstairs, and I'll show you how I go about growing these. Okay, so here is a blackworm culture. I'm going to drop in some food real quick so we can see them with their food. Today it's just algae wafers. Basically what I feed them often is algae wafers. Sometimes I'll feed them like that fork in there right there. That's just, I was feeding them some zucchini or something like that I'd blanched, or maybe some pumpkin that I'd frozen and thawed to make it nice and soft for them. So I do feed them other things. It's a great way to get rid of fish food that you don't like. So if you try fish food and you're like, man, I don't really like this for my fish, the worms will probably eat it. That's not a problem. So I think the big problem people have with live food cultures is they treat them like something less, like something lesser, I suppose. If you treat them like fish, especially blackworms and scuds and stuff like that, you'll generally be on the right track. So what this is this is a 75-gallon aquarium. Here's another one. More blackworms in there. And if you notice, it's got a box filter and a sponge filter, just like I would have if I had fish in here. It's fully cycled, so it can handle a lot of bio load. It has water sprite up top, a nice thick batch of it to suck up ammonia and nitrites and help keep the water quality clear. And if you look in here, you'll just see tons of worms. Hopefully, let me see if I can. There you go. See all those worms? It's just a bed of worms in this mold. And then the way I really set this up, sand works well too. They'll disperse through the sand, but let me get in focus. I have this lava rock in the bottom across like 2/3 of the tank. And that just creates a place for the worms to kind of dig in, if you will. A surface that they can kind of get in amongst so they feel comfortable. And there's, I don't know, a few pounds of worms in here probably, amongst all of that stuff. So to keep this culture up and thriving, I treat it like the rest of my fish tanks. It's on the same auto water change system. So there's a 30 to 40% water change that happens every night automatically, so they get fresh water just like the rest of the tanks do. They get food, like I just dropped in those algae wafers, and in a little bit those wafers will be gone. As soon as they get soft, the worms kind of come up and swarm over them, and that's just a little bit. I'll often feed more than that. And that's really it. So the secret is to keep them like fish. Don't put them in some little stagnant container that isn't properly filtered. You can keep you can keep blackworms like that in, say, the refrigerator, right? If you change the water once or twice a day. You can keep a lot of blackworms in a plastic container in the fridge, but you're not going to raise them that way. And what we're trying to do here is actually culture them so they grow and they develop and they breed and they multiply, so you can have constant live food. And what I found is that they do. They multiply frequently. I feed out of here often. And I'm careful not to over harvest. I don't want to take so many out that I diminish the culture, but when I harvest them, which I just do with a turkey baster, I'll show you that in a bit. When I harvest them, I notice all different sizes, from little babies on up to full adults. So they are multiplying in here, and I've been harvesting out of here for quite a long time. Now, if you want to boom your culture, what you can do is you can harvest some and cut them into small pieces with like a razor blade, and then put them back in the tank, and each of those little segments will turn into a new worm. So they do reproduce by segmentation if you need to. So I haven't done that because I'm getting plenty of worms growing in here and I haven't needed to boost the harvest, but if I did, I would just take some, cut them up, return them, and each of those little pieces would become a new worm. And it's not like cutting you or me up. They have a completely different nervous system. I don't know if it's pleasant for them, but it doesn't really hurt them. So let me harvest some, and I'll show you how I harvest them and wash them. Alright, so harvesting these guys is pretty simple. All you need is something to put them in, and a turkey baster. Don't have a turkey baster and you're a fish nerd, shame on you. Go to the dollar store, get yourself a turkey baster. It's an amazing tool. But anyway, let me show you how we do that. Alright, if you go down here, suck all this stuff up between the rocks, it's going to be full of worms. And you just take that, squirt it in your container, and I'll show you how to clean it out. It's going to look pretty gross right now because it's full of detritus and stuff. Let's get some more. Give someone a good feed. Okay, squirt that in our container here. Maybe one more. Okay. So now what we've got is this. It doesn't look like much right now. Probably looks kind of gross. Let me show you what's actually in there. Okay, here's the worms. I haven't rinsed them out yet, so I'm just going to pour off some of the top water there, some of the detritus and mold and stuff. I'm going to rinse them out. I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but hopefully you can see all the different sizes of worms in there. Let's give it a second to settle. I'm going to rinse it out 3 or 4 times until it's clear, and let me show you what the result is. Alright, well thanks for watching. That's how I grow them. I just treat them like fish and feed them, and it's really that simple. Change the water, just like a fish tank. If you like this stuff, if you would consider liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, all that jazz, would be greatly appreciated. And I find this very, very useful. That was just a small harvest, but I can harvest enough to feed 5 or 6 tanks a couple times a week, or if I get a species in that's really finicky, say it's elephant nose or some kind of mammirid, and they come in thin often, then it's a great weapon to use to help me get them bulked up quickly, eating quickly, recovered from shipping quickly, and get some weight on them, because that's what those fish need when they first come in. So anyway, I love blackworms. If you can get yourself some, instead of feeding them, maybe save a few and see if you can culture them. I don't know, even in just a 5.5 or 10 gallon aquarium, I think you could do quite well. So Hope you give it a stab. I should say that I don't have enough to sell, so for everyone that's gonna hit me up and say, could you send me some, could I buy some from you, I don't have enough. I'm saving up what I have and feeding it as needed, and as I import delicate species, I kind of need to have it on hand. So I can't help you out there right now, and with COVID-19 and everything, I don't know how the pet stores are doing as far as carrying any for sale. But when this all ends, if you can't get them now, hopefully you can get them you know, a little bit in the future, and get yourself a culture. Anyway, I hope you have a good one, and until next time, bye-bye.